Listen to the first conversation and answer the following questions.
Good morning, Brownton Swimming Pool.
Hello. I'd like some information about the Water Polo Club.
Yes, of course. We have an under-14s club, an under-16s club, an under-18s club, and an adults club. How old are you?
I'm 15.
OK, so you want the under-16s club?
Yes.
Just a moment. Yes, we have 2 places in the under-16s club.
When do they train?
Let's see. The under-16s train 2 evenings a week. On Mondays, no, sorry, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And matches are on Saturday mornings.
Right. When does the training start?
Training starts next week on September the 2nd.
Okay. And how much are the classes?
Classes are free for under-18s.
Oh, great! What do I have to do to join?
You have to come to the swimming pool and complete a form. You need to bring a photograph too.
Okay.
Can I take your name?
Yes, it's Tyrone Williams.
OK, thanks, Tyrone.
Thanks. Bye.
Listen to the second conversation and answer the following questions.
Hi, Mario. Do you want to go and watch a film?
Hi, Tamara. Sure, what's on?
Well, there are 2 action films, Mr. and Mrs. Jones and War Games. And they are both in 3D.
I've already seen Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I haven't seen War Games, but I don't really want to see an action film. What else is on?
There's that science fiction film, Robot 2075, but I've already seen it.
Oh, is it good?
Yes, it is, but I don't want to see it again. There's a romantic comedy called Forever.
I'm not sure. Are there any horror films on?
Yes, there's a Midnight Moon. It's got vampires in it.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go and watch Midnight Moon. What time is it on?
It's on at 12 o'clock or at 2:30.
Is it on this evening?
Yes, at 7:30.
Perfect. Let's go at 7:30.
Okay. Shall we meet at the cinema at 7 o'clock?
Great. See you later.
Bye.
Listen to the third conversation and answer the following questions.
my name's Bill, and I'm the main sports trainer here. But we have a team of 4 specialists who are always around to help you with exercise programs and give advice about lifestyle and diet. We strongly recommend that you talk to one of us as soon as you sign up and set up your personalised training program. So, through here we have the main gym. As you can see, it's enormous, and we have lots of brand new machines.
It's enormous, isn't it?
You can do everything here. Running, cycling, rowing, weights, you name it. Although we have a lot of clients, it's very unusual to have to wait for a machine. Over there is the area for weight training. If you want a closer look at the machines, you can come back later. Oh, by the way, you can only come in here with trainers on. No outdoor shoes, please.
Okay then.
Okay, through here we have the swimming pool.
Nice.
It's great, isn't it? We're very proud of it. There is always a lifeguard in attendance who will also offer informal swimming tips. Okay, just over there you have the changing rooms and lockers, and on the right are the bathrooms and showers. We have our own shop here where you can buy our own brand of sportswear and sports drinks and supplements. Right, I can see you're impressed. And as I said, we're very proud of our centre. Here's a brochure with the timetables of the extra classes that we offer, such as boxing, taekwondo and capoeira, and quite a few others. Besides swimming activities, swimming classes, diving classes, water aerobics and water polo. Okay, so have a look at the brochure.
Thank you.
Then you can speak to one of the secretaries in reception about the best combination of activities for you.
That is the end of part 2.
Questions 1 to 4.
You'll hear a journalist interviewing Jeff Thompson, a British sportsman.
Good evening, Jeff.
Hi.
Perhaps you could tell me a bit about your background. Where are you from exactly?
Well, I was actually born in 1958, up in the north of England. My parents came to live in Britain after the war.
Sounds great.
We moved south to London after that. We were completely broke, and I did all sorts of odd jobs to try and make money.
Goodness, how dramatic.
But I was lucky. I discovered karate.
Ah, how exactly?
There was a school trip. Nothing special, really. But we went to this sports centre, and I just thought, that's for me.
Just like that?
Yep. Anyway, I started training. I found myself a Japanese coach, and things just happened. I found it came naturally to me, and I worked my way up till I found myself in Taiwan for the World Championships. That was in 1982.
And you won?
Yeah. Suddenly, I was world heavyweight champion. It was great.
And you were world champion at that weight 5 times in all?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you retired?
Well, I didn't have much choice.
And now you've got other projects on the go all around the country and even abroad?
Yeah, we're going from strength to strength.
Question 5 to 8.
You will hear a man telephoning to ask about a job in a hotel.
Hello, West Bay Hotel. Can I help you?
Oh, good morning. I'm ringing about your advertisement in the Evening Gazette.
Is that the one for temporary staff?
That's right. Could you tell me what kind of staff you're looking for?
We're looking for waiters at the moment.
Right. What are the hours of work?
There are 2 different shifts. There is a day shift from 7 to 2 and a late shift from 4 till 11.
What about time off?
You get 1 day off.
Do you know what the rates of pay are?
Yes, I've got them here. You get £5.50 an hour, and that includes a break.
Oh, good. Yes, so let's see. I get £231 a week.
You'd also get tips. Our guests tend to be quite generous.
Is there a uniform? What about clothes?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. You need to wear a white shirt, just a plain one, and dark trousers.
One last thing. I don't know what the starting date is.
Just a minute. I think it's sometime around the end of June. Yes, the 28th, in time for the summer.
That's great. I'm available from the 10th. Well, thanks very much for your help.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Questions 9 through 12.
Listen to part of a conversation at a university library.
Hi, may I speak to the archives librarian?
I'm the archives librarian. What can I help you with?
Well, actually, I'm not a student here.
Are you the... Sorry, I don't remember your name, but the librarian over there asked me about giving someone access to the Jacobson collection. Is that you?
Yes, that's right. See, my paper is on the development of the coal mining industry.
Did your librarian explain what our system is here?
A little. She told me to make sure I brought my college ID so I could get in the door.
Yes, well, I'll need to take a copy of it, too. Even our own students who look at items from our archive collections have to leave a copy of their ID with us. You'll also have to sign into the archives room whenever you enter and sign out whenever you leave. There's a desk, for security.
I'll be careful.
Thank you. The other thing is, the things in the Jacobson collection are over 100 years old, so I'll have to ask you to wear special gloves while handling the books. Also, I'm afraid you won't be able to photocopy anything.
I figured that. Can I don't know, take a picture or something?
Well, I can't let you take a picture, but we have scans, images of all the pages in the collection.
Well, I guess given how rare these things are... Okay, so you want a copy of my ID, and then can you tell me how to get to the archives room so I can get started?
Questions 1 to 4.
You will hear a conversation between a girl, Tanya, and a boy, Marek, about their holiday plans.
Hi, Marek. Are you looking forward to your holidays?
Oh, Tanya, I can't wait.
Where is it you're going? Is it camping on an island somewhere, or am I thinking of someone else?
Well, we were going camping, but my dad's just bought a camper van, so we're going in that instead. It means you can go to other countries without having to get a flight, which is good in a way. But actually, I always used to enjoy sleeping in a tent.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it must be nice getting to see all the scenery along the way. I have to say the flight is my least favourite part of going abroad on holiday.
Oh, I never minded actually. And the airport can be quite fun sometimes.
You must be joking. All those people and nothing to do except look round expensive shops. I mean, you always end up buying something you don't really want just because there's nothing else to do.
Well, I don't. Anyway, where are you off to this year? Florida again?
Well, I'm getting a bit old for Disneyland, Marek. Though my little brother would still like it. We're actually going somewhere new. It's like a sports camp where you stay with lots of other kids and learn how to do different activities.
You mean you're going without your parents?
Not exactly. I mean, they're there too, doing whatever they want. Golf in my dad's case. But you only actually see them at mealtimes.
Oh, sounds cool. But will you have to look after your little brother?
No way. They divide you up according to age. He'll be doing football and swimming and all that, whereas I get to go water skiing.
Wow. Doesn't that cost a fortune?
Well, quite a bit. So I'm just doing it on one of the days. But there's windsurfing and water polo too.
I see.
Questions 5 to 8.
You will hear part of a radio interview with a man who is the director of an environmental centre.
I have with me in the studio today Geoffrey Osland, who is the director of an environmental centre in mid-Wales. Geoffrey, welcome.
Thank you.
Geoffrey, what exactly is an environmental centre?
Good question. Well, I suppose you could say that basically we're interested in protecting the environment, and that means looking at alternative technologies to provide energy for the future.
I'm still not sure I understand. What does the centre do?
It does a whole range of things. We opened 25 years ago, but in the last 10 years we've considerably expanded our activities, and now we have lots of working displays. These displays are built on the site, which we occupy in the heart of the countryside, and include ways to use the sun and wind for power, as well as low-energy buildings and different kinds of farming. We're open to the public all year round, and last year we had over 80,000 visitors. Everyone is welcome. We get casual visitors, tourists, environmental specialists, and lots of school children, especially primary school children, who are doing a project on some aspect of the environment. We also run courses for secondary schools, universities, and overseas students, and these courses are residential, obviously, because people come and stay for short periods of time. Most of the courses last 3 days, although in the summer we run week-long courses.
Goodness, I didn't realise it was such a big operation.
Oh, yes. Altogether, we have accommodation for about 70 people. When I say accommodation, I don't mean a luxury hotel. What we have are wooden cabins, which contain between 2 and 5 beds and are very simply furnished, although we do have a few single rooms available. There are common rooms for relaxation, with facilities for making drinks. We also grow all our own food, and meals are served in the centre restaurant. As you might expect, we only serve vegetarian food, no meat whatsoever. We don't allow people to bring meat in with them either. But we have an excellent chef who prepares really imaginative vegetarian food, and I've yet to hear anyone complain. The atmosphere is very relaxed and informal, but we do forbid people to smoke in the buildings.
Questions 9 through 12.
You're going to hear a university tutor interviewing a candidate for a place on a postgraduate diploma course in teaching geography.
Hello. Jonathan Briggs, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Do come in and sit down.
Thanks.
Right. Well, Jonathan, as we explained in your letter, in this part of the interview, we like to talk through your application form, your experience to date, etc. And then in the second part, you go for a group interview.
Group interview, yes, I understand.
So, your first degree was in economics.
Yes, but I also did politics as a major strand.
And you graduated in 1989. And I see you've been doing some teaching.
Yes, I worked as a volunteer teacher in West Africa. I was there for almost 3 years in total, from 1990 to 1992.
How interesting. What organisation was that with?
It's not one of the major ones. It's called Teach South.
All right. Yes, I have heard of it. It operates in several African countries, doesn't it? And what kind of school was it?
A rural cooperative.
Oh, a rural cooperative. How interesting. And what did you teach?
A variety of things in different years. I did, with forms 1 to 3, mainly geography, and some English with form 5. Then, in my final year, I took on some agricultural science with the top year. That's form 6.
Right. Quite a variety, then.
I also ran the school farm.
How interesting. And how did you find the whole experience?
I'll be honest with you. At the end of the first year, I really wanted to leave and come home.
Oh, why was that?
Well, I was very homesick at first and missed my family.
Oh, yes, I can understand that.
And I also found it frustrating to have so few teaching resources.
This is the end of part 2.
Questions 1 to 4. You will hear a news reporter called Angela Bond talking on the radio about her job.
And today in the studio we have a familiar face on television, Angela Bond, the news reporter. Angela, your job has taken you all over the world, hasn't it?
Yes. I've reported from a number of countries in Asia, and I've just returned from the United States. I must say it's good to be able to unpack my suitcase now that the job has brought me to Britain for at least 6 months.
Is the travelling what you enjoy about the job?
It's certainly interesting. But it can be annoying, never knowing where I'm going to be next week. For me, the really exciting thing is being somewhere when a big news story is taking place and seeing it develop. Sometimes that can be quite dangerous, but all jobs have their disadvantages. And travelling gives me the chance to collect souvenirs.
What kind of things?
Mostly things for my flat. I'm mad about anything Chinese. And so when I was in Hong Kong, I got a really nice table and some chairs, and in Turkey I spend a lot of money on carpets. Then I've got pictures and other bits of art from Thailand and India. The flat's getting a bit crowded.
It sounds colourful. Do you have a regular working day?
Not really. At the moment, I'm one of the team that reads the evening news, so sometimes I'm on at 6:30 and sometimes at 10 o'clock, but that's at the end of the day. It all starts in the morning at 8:30, when I phone the office to see what has happened and what they want me to go and report on.
So you don't have much time for a social life?
It's better now I'm in London and can see my boyfriend more often. My sister introduced us. He came round for dinner when I was staying with her a year ago. We have a lot in common. He's a lawyer, and I studied law at university. Also, we've found that we lived in Hong Kong at the same time, although we never met.
What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, cooking is something new I'm trying because I can't do it when I'm travelling, but I'm not very good at it yet, so I find it a bit stressful.
Questions 5 to 8.
You will hear a conversation between a boy, Marcus, and a girl, Catherine, about their homework.
I feel awful. I've got 2 lots of homework to do today, and all I want to do after school is relax. Oh, it's not fair.
Of course you've got a lot. You didn't do any yesterday, did you?
No, I didn't. I had football practice, and after that I was just too tired for anything else.
Well, maybe you could do more homework at the weekends, so you have time for football and other things during the week.
But at the weekend I often go out with my family. On Sunday we went to the Science Museum. Oh, it was great. I wouldn't want to miss doing things like that just because I've got homework.
Actually, you're quite lucky. I never do anything like that. Homework isn't everything. I'm sure you learnt just as much there.
Yes, but I don't suppose the teachers will be interested in that. I've got today's maths to do, and I expect it'll take me hours.
I tell you what, you can come round to my house this afternoon and we'll work on it together.
I don't know. You're really good at maths. You'll just finish it quickly and I can't do that.
It's not a competition, is it? It's more important that we both finish it. And working together will be much more fun.
But if I don't do it by myself, I could be in trouble with the teacher.
Well, we'll tell her you're finding it difficult, and so I'm going to try and help you understand it. I'm sure she won't mind that.
All right then. Thank you. Perhaps I'll feel better about maths if you help me. At the moment, I still don't know where to begin.
Don't worry. We'll get there.
Questions 9 through 12.
You will hear a radio interview with Julia Emerson, a young writer.
This evening on Young and Gifted, I'm joined in the studio by Julia Emerson, the young Scottish writer who's recently had a screenplay accepted by a major Hollywood studio. Julia, I'm glad you could be with us today. Could I start by asking you to explain exactly why what you've done is so unusual?
Well, Hollywood films these days don't start off with a screenplay. The screenplay only gets written after the producers have come up with an idea for a film. Then they contact agents to find at least one major star who will act in it. The next step is to get a team of anything up to 20 writers working on the screenplay. Now, I was inexperienced enough to think that I could simply write a screenplay and send it to a number of studios, which is what I did. When I didn't get an answer, I wrote another one. And this time, by some amazing chance, they accepted it.
I think everyone has been stunned by the fact that you've been successful with a screenplay at such an early age. But in fact, this isn't the first piece of writing you've had published, is it?
No, it isn't. I won a short story competition in a magazine when I was 15, and ever since then I've been writing in my spare time. I've had a number of articles published in teen magazines. I've always been fascinated by television and the cinema, and I even tried to develop an idea for a TV series, but somehow it didn't feel right. Then I tried putting down an idea for a film, and the writing just flowed.
Do you think you're influenced very strongly by films you've seen?
Yes, and I have to watch out, or I might end up writing a slightly different version of a classic. I suppose everyone who does anything creative has to think about that, though.
Can you tell us something about this screenplay that's been bought by Planet Studios? What's it about?
It's about two sisters who are stranded in the jungles of South America after a plane crash. They're the only survivors. They have all sorts of adventures as they try to get back to civilization. It's an adventure story, but it's also about the relationship between the two girls. You see, they've never been very close. In fact, at the start of the story, they really hate each other. Or at least they think they do.
This is the end of part 2.
Questions 1 to 4. You will hear part of an interview with a boy called Simon, who is helping to protect the environment.
Simon, tell us about yourself.
Well, like lots of other kids my age, I've grown up taking my boat onto the rivers in this area. One of my favorite rivers is the River Stanton, which is fast with excellent white water, so things can get pretty dangerous. But it's exciting, and I'm experienced.
Now, it was while you were on the River Stanton that you noticed something was wrong.
Yeah. I always wondered why the water made my eyes burn if it got on my face, and why it was a strange orange color, especially when the water was running low.
So you decided to find out more?
Yeah. I asked other people using the river, and I visited a few websites and found out that the river was orange because of pollution from the old mines in the area. There was a lot of mining for coal done in this part of the country. I knew that from my history class at school, but what I didn't know was that pollution was coming from those old mine works and escaping into the rivers.
Then you did a qualification, didn't you?
Yes. I found out about an organization called the Friends of the River Stanton. They told me they did a special course where I could learn how to test the river water to see if it was healthy or not. So that's what I did. And I got really interested in the subject.
In fact, you got so interested that you actually started to look for an answer to the pollution problem.
I learned as much as I could about the chemistry behind the pollution. I can't really explain all the detail, but basically, if you add something called limestone to the river, it can improve the chemistry. That means that the plants and fish which had died because of all the mining companies that used to be in the area could live in the river again. So that made me really happy.
Questions 5 to 8.
You will hear part of a radio program in which a woman called Sylvia Short is interviewed about her job.
Good morning, and today we're continuing with our series on careers for young people. In the studio today we have Sylvia Short, who works for a company that produces guidebooks for serious travellers. Now, Sylvia, I believe you left Essex University with a degree in German and Spanish. Tell us something about how you got your job.
My main interest has always been travel. I spent every holiday when I was a student travelling abroad. After I left university, I spent a year as an English teacher in Spain, followed by 6 months as a tour guide in Italy. When I returned to England, I applied for loads of jobs advertised in the newspaper, but didn't have any success. So I decided to make a list of every company I wanted to work for and write to them directly, rather than wait for them to advertise.
Good advice to anyone, I think.
Yes, and I was very lucky as the company World Travel needed an assistant in their office in London. I dealt mainly with the post at first, just to get used to their way of doing things. Obviously, I was qualified to do more, but I wasn't in a hurry. Then the manager's assistant announced she was leaving after only being with the company for 12 months, and I applied for her job. The company encourages their staff to apply for higher-level jobs, and I was promoted 4 months after joining.
Good for you. What does the job involve?
Well, I've expanded the role since I took it on. I'm in charge of all the advertising in the press whenever we publish a new guidebook, and I sometimes give talks to people in the travel industry.
Do you find the work interesting?
Oh, yes, it's never boring. We often get odd requests from journalists. They assume we know everything there is to know about travel, so they often ring us to see if we can help them. One rang to say he was writing an article and wanted to know whether there were any female football teams in China.
Questions 9 through 12.
You will hear the Director of Studies in an English Language Centre and a student representative talking about their self-access centre.
Now, what about the computers? I think it might be a good idea to install some new models. They would take up a lot less room, and so that would increase the workspace for textbooks and so on.
That would be great. It is a bit cramped in there at times.
What about other resources? Do you have a list of things that the students would like to see improved?
Yes, one of the comments that students frequently make is that they find it difficult to find materials that are appropriate for their level, especially reading resources. So I think we need to label them more clearly.
Well, that's easy enough. We can get that organised very quickly. In fact, I think we should review all of the study resources, as some of them are looking a bit out of date.
Definitely. The CD section especially needs to be more current. I think we should get some of the ones that go with our latest course books and also make multiple copies.
Good. Now, I was also thinking about some different materials that we haven't got in there at all. What do you think of the idea of introducing some workbooks? If we break them up into separate pages and laminate them, they'd be a great resource. The students could study the main course book in class and then do follow-up practice in the Self-Access Centre.
That sounds good.
OK. Now, finally, we need to think about how the room is used. I'll have to talk to the teachers and make sure we can all reach some agreement on a timetable to supervise the centre after class. But we also need to think about security too, especially if we're going to invest in some new equipment.
What about putting in an alarm?
Good idea. The other thing I'd like to do is talk to our technicians and see whether we could somehow limit the access to email. I really don't want to see that resource misused.
This is the end of part 2.
Questions 1 to 4.
You will hear a student talking to a housing officer about living with a homestay family.
Yes, what can I do for you?
My friend is in homestay, and she really enjoys it, so I'd like to join a family as well.
Okay, so let me get some details. What's your name?
My name is Keiko Yuchini.
And you're female. And your nationality?
I'm Japanese.
And you're how old?
I'm 28 years old.
Now, you live at one of the colleges. Which one?
Willow College, room 21C.
And how long are you planning on staying with Homestay?
About 4 months.
And what course are you enrolled in?
Well, I've enrolled for 20 weeks in the Advanced English Studies.
Okay. Do you have any preference for a family with children or without children?
I like young children, but I'd like to be with older people.
All right. Now, what about you? Are you a vegetarian or do you have any special food requirements?
No, I am not a vegetarian, but I don't eat a lot of meat. I really like seafood.
Are you familiar with the public transport system?
No.
What about the trains?
I like catching the train. They are much faster.
Now, let me go check on the computer and see who I've got. I'll check my records and I'll give you details this afternoon.
Thank you for helping me.
It's a pleasure. Bye.
Question 5 to 8.
You will hear an interview with a representative of a wildlife park called Paradise Wildlife Park.
OK. Now, I understand that the park is involved in 1 or 2 projects at the moment.
That's right. Since 1994, we've been working with various partners to raise money and help coordinate something called Project Life Lion.
So you're obviously concerned about environmental issues.
Yes, the park continuously monitors its environmental impact. To do that, we have our own independently written environmental management system.
One thing that I see you run is something called Adopt an Animal. Tell me about that.
Yes, adopting an animal is a great way to mark a special occasion for yourself or for a friend or loved one.
Now, talking of tickets, people can get season tickets for the park, can't they?
That's right. Our season tickets are very popular and extremely good value for money.
But are you open all year?
Yes, we're open 365 days a year.
Now, people can also take part in what you call experience days, can't they?
Yes, the experience days are great to give to someone who is 12 or over as a gift.
Finally, if I wanted to work in the park, what chance would I have?
Pretty good right now.
I might apply. Thanks for talking to me today.
You're welcome.
Questions 9 through 12.
You'll hear an interview with Sophie Morrison, a translator.
Sophie, you're a native English speaker, and you've been working as a translator for some time now.
I'm currently doing a lot of legal text. The details of court cases can be interesting, and the language quite challenging.
And what kind of language gives you the most problems? The kind of expressions used in technology, perhaps, or science?
Actually, I don't have much trouble with those. What's still quite tricky, though, is when someone mentions a person or an event, perhaps in their country's history.
So, do you normally deal with big private firms, or with state institutions like local government?
Well, I was once contacted by an insurance company, and I did a job for them, but nearly always it's a case of an agency asking if I'd be willing to do a particular text.
That must speed things up a lot.
Yes, but it can still be a very long working day. I don't mind which part of the day I'm working, though. That's one of the advantages of working from home.
How do you see the long-term future of translating? Will it continue to be a good area to work in?
Oh, I think so. Professional standards are higher than they've ever been, and the increasingly wide range of languages used internationally means that the demand for high-quality translation will keep growing for many years to come.
Questions 1 to 4.
You will hear a telephone conversation between a male insurance agent and a female client who wants to make changes to her policy. Good morning. Tauber Insurance Company. How can I help you?
Good morning. I want to alter my insurance policy.
Is that for your house, contents, or vehicle?
My vehicle.
Can you give me the number of the policy, please?
Certainly. I have it here in front of me. It's ZQW 5009.
And what make and model of car is it?
It's a Mazda Marvel.
And what's the CC rating?
Sorry, what do you mean?
How big is the engine? Is it 1,500 or 1,800 cc, for example?
Oh, that. It's actually much bigger than that. It's 2,500 cc.
Thank you. Now, I just have to ask you a few questions to verify your identity. What name is the policy under?
Heathcote.
Let me just bring that up on the computer. Yes. Can I just confirm your first name, please?
Well, my first name is Lisa, but I'm known by my middle name, Marie.
Right. I see both here, but Lisa is the one I want for ID purposes. And your date of birth, Lisa? I mean, Marie.
The 22nd of August, 1955.
Correct.
Question 5 to 8.
You will hear an interview with someone who started the activity known as free running.
Sebastian, you routinely jump across rooftops to get from A to B. Why exactly?
It's always been a real passion for me, but I think it's become more than that. It's a part of my life. It's like asking someone, why are you walking? They say it's simply because they can, and for me, it's the same with free running. When we were young, my friend and I used to practice climbing around, just like any kids. We just kept moving, never stopped, until it turned into something special. First, it turned into a lifestyle, and then into a real discipline.
Just watching you in action makes me tired. Do you have to be fit to be a free runner?
To start with, you don't have to be so fit. In fact, I often prefer beginners who start with not such a healthy body. If you can't do stuff because your body is not ready, you naturally start at a low level. When you get somebody who has done some sport, they often want to do something too impressive too soon.
Just one wrong step could see you fall and splatter on the floor, though. Surely it's just too dangerous.
Yeah, of course there is risk, but there is risk everywhere.
Questions 9 through 12.
You will hear Catherine and Andrew, students at a business school, discussing their experiences and views of business.
Well, Catherine, I've only been on the course for a few weeks, but you're in your third and final year.
Yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's hard doing it part-time.
Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, on balance, yes, very much. It's not perfect, of course. The teaching staff vary in their commitment, but I think I've been lucky in getting the more dynamic ones. And most of the students are fine. There are a few oddballs. And there's such a mix of backgrounds and expertise, which comes out in the really wide range of presentations we get. One downside is the number of books and journals we're expected to get through. Some weeks it's just been too much.
Yes, I'm finding that already. What have you particularly enjoyed?
One thing that struck me is how much each person is capable of contributing. We have these online chat rooms and email lists, so you can stay in touch with each other, but nobody says anything special. And then when we have the class sessions, suddenly everyone comes to life, and you get some great exchanges of ideas.
Interesting. And what are you working on at the moment?
We've got a tough assignment. They've given us a case study about a company's plans to rebrand, and we have to go through all the figures, sales, research, etc., and comment on them. It's supposed to give us practice in drawing conclusions from the figures available, but it's hard.
I know I'm not ready for that kind of thing yet.
This is the end of part 2.
Questions 1 to 4.
You will hear a conversation between a clerk at the inquiries desk of a transport company and a man who is asking for travel information.
Good morning, Travellink. How can I help you?
Good morning. I live in Bayswater and I'd like to get to Harbour City tomorrow before 11 a.m.
Well, to get to Bayswater...
No, I live in Bayswater. My destination is Harbour City.
Oh, sorry. Right, so that's Bayswater to Harbour City. Are you planning to travel by bus or train?
I don't mind, really. Whichever option is faster, I suppose.
Well, if you catch a railway express, that'll get you there in under an hour. Let's see. Yes, if you can make the 9:30 a.m. express, I'd recommend you do that.
Great. Which station does that leave from?
Helendale is the nearest train station to you.
Did you say Helensvale?
No, Helendale. That's Helendale.
What's the best way to get to the Helendale station then?
Well, hang on a minute while I look into that. Now, it seems to me that you have two options. Option 1 would be to take the 7:06 bus from the Bayswater Shopping Centre to Central Street. When you get there, you transfer to another bus which will take you to the station. Or the second option, if you don't mind walking a couple of kilometres, is to go directly to Central Street and get straight on the bus going to the train station.
OK. Which bus is that?
The 792 will take you to the station.
I guess the walk will be good for me, so that might be the better option.
Question 5 to 8.
You will hear a conversation between a commercial property letting agent and a businessman who wants to move his business to new premises.
Ah, good morning. Mr. Rich, isn't it?
That's right. Raymond Rich of ICT Industries.
ICT Industries. Just a moment while I put that on the form. Now, you're looking for new office space, is that right?
Yes. Our present lease is due to expire soon, and as the company's expanding anyway, we need to find somewhere to move to.
Do you prefer the suburbs, the city, or a commercial zone on the outskirts?
Well, currently we're in a very pleasant suburb, but as I said, we've outgrown that building as we've got to move anyway. I think the city centre is where we want to be, right in the heart of things.
I see. Anywhere in particular?
Yes, somewhere in the vicinity of the main transport centre, because I have a large staff, and car parking in the city is terribly expensive. I think it would be a good idea if we didn't use our cars at all.
Exactly what size premises are you looking for?
Good question. Something more than the 10,000 square metres we have at present should do it.
Shall we say 12,000 square metres?
That's probably about right. Yes, I think that would meet our needs.
Questions 9 through 12.
You will hear a conversation between a tax office employee and a woman who wants to apply for a tax number.
Good morning. Tax office. How can I help you?
I'd like to apply for a tax file number.
Are you a citizen?
No, but I'm told I still need a number.
So what is your residency status? Are you a permanent migrant or perhaps a temporary visitor?
Oh, I'm a permanent migrant.
And you need a TFN?
A what?
A TFN. It stands for tax file number.
Yes, what is that exactly?
It's a unique number we issue to individuals and organizations to help administer tax collection and other government systems.
Why do I need one?
In actual fact, you don't.
What do you mean?
It's not compulsory, you know.
But I should get one?
Well, it's a good idea. Otherwise, you'll have more tax withheld from your wages or salary. In fact, you won't be eligible to participate in the PAYE, that's pay-as-you-earn system, and you couldn't apply for income support or other benefits. You wouldn't have to pay the Medicare levy, but then you wouldn't be entitled to claim Medicare benefits either.
I'd better have one then.
Okay. So you're currently living in this country, right?
Yes.
Questions 1 to 4. You will hear part of an interview with a girl called Eleanor, a young filmmaker who wrote, directed and starred in her own film.
Eleanor, before we talk about how a 16-year-old can write, direct, and star in her own film, tell me a bit about the character of Susie, the girl you played in your film Stolen Dream.
She's artistic and doesn't really care what people think or say about her, or get upset about how people behave. I'm a lot like that too. I don't worry too much about other people's opinions of me.
So, is being free of worry a message you wanted to communicate to your audience?
In a way, you need to be free. You shouldn't be tied to your background, where you were born, or anything you haven't chosen for yourself. People have dreams, and I guess I'm saying that they should have belief in themselves, that they can make those dreams come real.
It must have been an exciting atmosphere to work in. Was making the film like your own dream coming true?
Definitely, although it wasn't easy. I had very little time or money. People told me to relax, but I knew I couldn't. If I didn't work, no one else would. But after a week or so, because everyone on the film was facing the same challenge, we came together. When we all left at the end, it was sad because it was like a family breaking up.
Tell me about a typical day's filming.
I don't think there was a typical day, really. Each day I got up at 5 to start at 6. I'd film 2 or 3 scenes in the morning and the same again after lunch. That way I had a goal and knew how much I was achieving each day. Sometimes, if we needed to, we'd work on until late, till 3 a.m. one time. I really enjoyed my Sundays off.
Questions 5 to 8.
You'll hear an interview with someone who works in the film industry.
I suppose the first question I have to ask you, Alan, is one you get fed up answering. But here goes. What is a best boy?
Well, I'm not sure why I'm called a best boy exactly, but I like to think it's because I'm the best at what I do. But the title is an American term used to describe the assistant to the man who works with the cameramen and the electricians on a film to make sure that the film is properly lit.
So how do you spend your time?
Basically, what I do is work between the electrical department and production. I deal with the companies where the lights come from. And I'm also there on the film set, making sure that everything runs smoothly, that the lighting is set up when the camera crew arrives to shoot the film, and then I also help with the budget. We have to do timesheets, things like that. It's mostly paperwork, really.
When did you start working in the industry?
About 15 years ago. I'd been an electrician, and my first few film jobs were basic electrical ones. Then I moved over to this.
It sounds rather a complicated job to me.
No, not really. I've never had to do anything out of the ordinary, but filming on location does make things more intense. There's less control than in the studio, and you can have problems with the weather. On my latest film, we were working in the hills, and it would take us ages to get the equipment up there. But I enjoyed it. It was a challenge.
Is working on location a plus for you?
Well, you see some great places, but long working days and problems with production are far more common. There's a lot of responsibility with the job because there's so much money involved. If all the lighting goes wrong on one day, then obviously there'll be trouble. The long hours are very unsociable, which is okay if you're single, but there's quite a lot of work abroad, which puts a lot of pressure on the family. I went away for 5 months once. When I left, my son wasn't talking, and when I came back, he was. It varies, though. Some years you don't go away at all.
Questions 9 through 12.
Maria is a student at university. She has handed the first draft of an essay to her tutor. The tutor has read it, and now they are discussing ways the essay can be improved.
Well, Maria, I have to say I was quite impressed by your essay. It's a big improvement on the last one.
Really? I'm glad. I put a lot more work into this one. I really spent ages on it.
And it shows. You've addressed most of the problems I pointed out last time. In particular, the style and language are much more appropriate for an academic essay.
So that aspect is okay?
Absolutely. If you carry on like this, you shouldn't have any significant problems in that department.
That's a relief. I've been quite worried about that, although I've been reading a lot of other essays to try to get the right style.
Well, I'd say you've been successful. There are just 1 or 2 minor things you could look at. Your punctuation's quite basic. It's really just full stops and commas. And parentheses.
Brackets?
Yes, brackets if you prefer. In academic writing, these are best used only occasionally, if at all. You use them rather too often.
Okay, I see.
And I'm sorry to mention it, but your spelling.
I know. But I'm working on a foreign computer. The spell checker doesn't work for English.
Are you sure? Have you tried changing the setting to English?
No, I haven't.
Well, I should see if that's possible. I haven't marked you down this time, but, well, some of my colleagues are a bit old-fashioned about spelling. I'd try to get that sorted out if I were you.
Okay, I understand. I'll try to change the setting.
Questions 1 to 4.
You will hear a conversation between a girl, Jill, and a boy, Gus, about an adventure park they have both visited.
Hi, Gus.
Jill, hi. Where have you just come back from?
Wycliffe Adventure Park. I was planning to save all my money and go in August, but then my parents said they'd take me for my birthday. It was great.
It is, isn't it? All my friends told me I should go. Then my uncle invited me to go with him and my cousin, Todd. Todd and I went on all the rides together, which was good for my uncle, who really isn't keen on them.
Really?
Yeah, he says they make him feel sick. Actually, Thunder Mountain made me feel a bit ill in the end, but that's because we went on it 4 times.
Ah, you lucky thing. That's the one I really wanted to go on. It's the coolest ride.
Yeah. Did you get on it?
Only once. The queue was so long.
You'll have to go back when it's not so busy.
That's my plan. I was thinking of going on a rainy day during the next school break.
Yeah.
I won't mind getting a bit wet, just as long as there are fewer people there and shorter queues.
That's a good idea. I might come. We spent ages in the Future World part of the park when I went. It was good, but there's so much more of the park that I want to see, like the Sea Life Centre and the Jungle Walk.
And there are a couple of areas that were closed to the public today. They're building new rides and a new food court.
They need one. The food was the one thing I wasn't very impressed with. There was no choice.
Oh, I thought the food was okay. I just wish their maps were a bit clearer and easier to read. I kept getting lost today.
Questions 5 to 8.
You'll hear an interview with a tour leader who works for an adventure company in Africa.
Today I'm talking to Don Nicholson, a tour leader who spends 10 months of the year looking after groups of up to 18 tourists in southern Africa. They travel together in the back of a truck, put up their own tents and cook their own food. Welcome to the programme, Don.
Thanks.
This is a holiday with a difference, isn't it? Tell us, first of all, what sort of people go on a camping trip in Africa? And a long one at that. It is a month each trip.
Yes, well, it sounds a sort of studenty thing to do, but in fact, the majority of our passengers are people like doctors and lawyers. We do get some students, but they tend to be the ones that are studying something like conservation or wildlife.
And when do they all first meet?
The evening before we set off. They fly in, and I pick them up from the airport, and immediately before we start sorting out places in the truck, we go through what they've brought with them. Amazingly, every now and then we get somebody who genuinely doesn't realise it's a camping tour, so I have to rush out and get them blankets and a sleeping bag.
It must be difficult. A whole group of strangers coming together and then having to live together like that.
Well, it goes surprisingly well, but I always think the first day is critical because it sets the tone for the whole trip. We've had the odd nightmare start where we've got a flat tyre 20 minutes after we set off, or it's dark and pouring with rain and people just can't get their tents up. Once we were making pasta late at night and the cook put in a tin of strawberry jam instead of tomato paste. Those are the bad starts.
Basically, everyone has to take part in the domestic chores, do they?
Yes, the brochure makes it clear that people have to work on a rota system, and they usually do about an hour's work a day. We get a few who don't want to muck in, but more often they're just untidy, and I've got a bit of an eye for that because, well, they might leave a fork lying on the ground, for example, and OK, it's just a fork, but in a lot of places in Africa you can't get forks, so I'm quite possessive about the equipment.
Questions 9 through 12.
John has applied to train as a teacher and is being interviewed. In this stage of the interviewer will discuss John's previous studies and work experiences. Hello, come in and take a seat. You are, John Evans?
Yes, I am.
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, the purpose of this part of the interview is to go over your CV and talk a little further about your previous studies and experiences.
Yes.
So, your first degree was in French, of course?
Yes, with a minor in film studies.
An interesting combination. Mostly French films, presumably?
Well, European cinema in general, but with a bias towards French cinema.
Ah, and your degree took 4 years?
Yes. In the third year, I was an exchange student at Bruges University in Belgium. I was there for a full academic year, 9 months.
Right. Well, you graduated 2 years ago, and then you took some time out, as it were.
Yes, I spent 6 months as a volunteer working on restoring historic buildings in France.
Was that with a well-known organisation?
They're called Restoration Vacations here, but they operate under different names in several countries. I think they're quite well known.
So, it was a 6-month vacation, really?
No, I went for a week, but really liked it, and I got asked to stay on as a translator. Because I could speak French quite well, it was my job to liaise between the owners of the buildings and the English-speaking volunteers.
That must have been a very enjoyable experience.
Well, it was certainly a very enjoyable experience to begin with, but after the first 3 months or so, I actually got a bit bored. I was talking about the same things every day. Bricks, cement, window frames, that kind of thing. It wasn't really stretching my French. Also, I wasn't getting paid, just free accommodation and food, plus some pocket money.
I see.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. Now turn to Section 1. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 1.
Excuse me, do you have any keys or money in your pockets?
No, I think I've taken everything out.
Okay, go ahead and walk through the body scanner.
Will I feel anything?
No, sir. Just walk through and keep your hands in the air.
Okay.
We need to do some additional screening. Sorry, sir. Please come this way.
Did you find something?
Relax, sir. Okay? I'm going to open your carry-on bag. As I'm going through it, please do not try to touch it.
But, I mean...
Let's see here. First of all, sir, you can't take any liquids like this bottled water past this point.
Well, I really can't drink any other kind of water. Sierra Springs is the only bottled water I drink.
Sorry, sir.
Oh.
And, sir, what's this?
What?
No, sir. You cannot bring a lighter on the plane.
But I don't smoke. I
mean, you still can't bring it on the plane.
Yeah, but I have it just in case of emergencies, you know, as an emergency fire starter in case the plane crashes into a dark forest.
Sir, you'll have to leave that here.
Oh.
What's this?
Well, that's my pocket knife.
A pocket knife? It's almost a foot long.
Well, it's a special knife given to me by my grandfather, but I only use it to peel apples and fruit. You know, things like that.
Sir, I'm sorry, but you can't take that on the plane. In fact, do you have any other prohibited items in your bag?
Well, I don't...
mean, didn't you read the sign back there explaining all the items that were not allowed on board?
Well, I started to read it, and then I got a little distracted.
Little? Sir, how many times have you flown on an airplane?
It's been a while. I think the last time I traveled by plane was about 1960.
Sir, why don't you come with me?
What?
I think my supervisor would like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, no.
Now turn to Section 2. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 2.
I would like to tell you a little bit about some things I like and then a little bit about some things I don't like. First of all, I really enjoy exercising. Some of my favorite types of exercise are swimming, especially in rivers in the country and in big oceans because I like to jump over the waves. I also really enjoy dancing. I like dancing to American music because that's what I know best, and I also like salsa and merengue, which are more Latin types of music. I also like to walk in the woods and to explore. I like to walk through forests, and I like to hear rivers. I enjoy meeting new people, too. I like to find out about different ways of life, what different people think, where they're from, and how they live. Probably one of my favorite things are animals. I really love dogs and cats and horses. When I was little, I always tried to talk my mom into letting me have more animals, but usually she wouldn't. So I think now that I'm going to have my own house, I'll try to get lots of animals. Some things that I don't really like are rude people. Sometimes people are not very nice to strangers, and that makes me feel bad. I also don't really like driving. I tend to get pretty bored in the car, and it seems like it just takes a long time to get there. One final thing I don't really like is waiting. Sometimes I'm not a very patient person, and I just like to hurry things up.
Now turn to Section 3. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 3.
Hi, may I help you?
Yeah, you see, I need some flowers for my wife and,
Let me guess. You forgot your anniversary and you're trying to make things up, right?
Oh, yeah, is it that obvious?
Well, yeah. We see men like you all the time that are so involved in their work that they simply forget about us.
Well, in this case, it's not like that.
Sure. What do you need?
Well, I'd like to get a dozen roses with some greenery and a very nice card.
Do you really think a dozen roses is going to cut it?
Well,
I mean, if my husband forgot our anniversary, he'd be in the doghouse for sure.
Well,
you need at least 2 dozen roses, a dozen balloons, and a romantic evening at an expensive restaurant.
Well, I only have $10.
$10?
Yeah.
Well, that will buy you a single rose and a hamburger at McDonald's, but that's it.
Wait. I actually have $12 and, wait, hang on, let me see here. 32 cents, so that might be...
Forget playing golf this weekend. Your wife is way more important.
Oh, no. Oh, no, my wife is out in the parking lot looking for me. Oh, and she's looking this way. Please help me. She'll wring my neck for sure.
Okay, let's see.
Please.
Well, it looks like I can arrange a small bouquet of roses.
Okay.
A couple are a little wilted.
No, that's okay.
But that's the best I can do.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
And I can also attach a small card and tie a nice ribbon around the flowers.
Oh, that would be great. You're a lifesaver. I'll put you on my Christmas card list forever.
Okay, that'll be $12 even.
Oh, you're an angel. Thank you. Oh, no.
What?
Now she's parked in front of your store waiting for me. I'm dead meat. Do you have a back door?
No. It looks like you need to face the music and just talk to her.
I can't.
She'll probably be very understanding after you promise to wash...
You don't know my wife.
Well, you need to promise to wash the dishes and clean the bathroom for the next 6 months. Get out there and be a man.
Could you call an ambulance, just in case? This could get ugly.
Man.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. Now turn to Section 1. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 1.
My daily schedule as a dental hygienist is a little complicated. That's because it's different every day. Monday, I don't go into work until late in the afternoon, so I have time to spend most of the day doing washing of clothes, shopping, and my banking. I leave for work around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and work from 5 to 9 p.m. Tuesday, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. and leave for work at 7:30. My first patient is scheduled for 8:15. Each patient is allotted 45 minutes. Lunch break is 12:30 to 1:30. I finish up at 5 p.m. and get home at around 6 p.m. Wednesday starts an hour earlier. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., leave for work at 6:30, and see my first patient at 7 a.m. I also finish early on Wednesday at 12 noon. Thursday is the same schedule as Tuesday. Getting up at 6:30 a.m., leaving for work at 7:30, and seeing my first patient at 8:15. I get home about 6 p.m. in the evening. Friday is another early start. I wake up at 5:30 a.m., leave the house at 6:30, and finish up my last patient at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I like to get finished early on Friday. That is a typical work week for me.
Now turn to Section 2. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 2.
Hi, sis. I just came over to drop off the DVDs you wanted, and... Hey, wow. Where did you get all of this stuff?
I bought it. So what do you think of my new entertainment center? And the widescreen TV?
Bought it?
And my new DVD player. Here, let me show you my stereo. You can really rock the house with this one.
But where did you get the dough to buy all this? You didn't borrow money from Mom and Dad again, did you?
Of course not. I got it with this.
This? Let me see that. Have you been using Dad's credit card again?
No, silly, it's mine. It's a student credit card.
A student credit card? How in the world did you get one of these?
I got an application in the mail.
Well, why did you get one in the first place?
Listen, times are changing, and having a credit card helps you build a credit rating, control spending, and even buy things that you can't pay with cash, like the plane ticket I got recently.
What plane ticket?
Oh yeah, my roommate and I are going to Hawaii over the school break, and of course I need some new clothes for that, so...
I don't want to hear it. How does having a student credit card control spending? It sounds like you've spent yourself into a hole. Anyway, student credit cards just lead to impulse spending, as I can see here. And the interest rates of student credit cards are usually sky high. And if you miss a payment, the rates, well, just jump.
The credit card has a credit limit.
Of $20,000?
No, not quite that high. Anyway.
I've heard enough.
Did I tell you we now get digital cable with over 100 channels?
What?
Oh, and here's your birthday present, a new MP3 player.
Yeah. No, don't tell me. Charged on the credit card. Listen, hey, I don't think having a student credit card is a bad idea, but this is ridiculous. And how in the world are you going to pay off your credit card bill?
With my birthday money? It's coming up in a week.
Hey, let's sit down and talk about how you're going to pay things back. And maybe we can come up with a budget that will help you get out of this mess. That's the least I can do.
Now turn to Section 3. First, you have some time to look at the questions. Section 3.
Hi, welcome to Joe's Hamburger Restaurant, home of the 1 pound super deluxe hot and spicy cheeseburger. Will this be for here or to go?
To go.
Okay, what would you like today? Would you like to try the 1 pound super hot and spicy cheeseburger?
I don't think so. I'd probably have heartburn for a week after downing that monster.
Well, it's our house special this week, and it comes with fries and a large specialty drink called Everything But the Kitchen Sink.
A what? Everything but the kitchen sink? What in the world is that?
Well, it's a little mix of everything in a large cup. Pepsi, Sprite, Fanta Orange, and lemonade with crushed ice and a scoop of ice cream.
Now that sounds disgusting.
Hey, it'll grow on you.
Nah, I think I'll just order a hamburger with some mustard and lettuce and a glass of water.
Boring. Hey, would you care for anything else, like a side order of amazing cheesy onion rings?
No, thank you. Onion rings usually don't agree with me.
Okay. Your total comes to $10.90.
$10.90? For just a hamburger? You gotta be kidding.
Well, the 1 pound super deluxe hamburger is $9.
Hey, I didn't order a 1 pound burger. I just wanted a simple burger, that's all.
Well, sir, Joe's Hamburger Restaurant only serves 1 pound burgers.
Man.
The 1 pound super hot and spicy, the 1 pound barbecue burger, and the 1 pound bacon cheeseburger. The 1 pound...
No, those are all huge.
Well, sir, if you really want something smaller, you should order from the kids' menu. The half-pound super hot and spicy burger, the half-pound barbecue burger, the half-pound bacon cheeseburger, the half-pound...
No, those are still giant burgers.
Well, in these parts, we are hearty eaters.
Okay, but you said my total was $10.90, but the burger only comes to $10. What about the other 90 cents?
Well, sir, we only serve natural spring water from yonder hills.
Okay. I'll take the giant burger and a bottle of your spring water. The sandwich should feed me for a week.
Listen to the first